June, it has been a minute.
Yes, it has.
Tell me a little bit about what it's been like since we last visited.
Since you last visited, it's been like a home. You know, my daughter moved back with her kids, and so it's been a home, in and out. Lot work done on the inside and outside by the city. Thank God for the city of Detroit.
Right.
And I just, you know, every time I think about you, though, or I see you on TV, I just laugh because we had a good time.
We sure did.
And I forgot that I was trying to save the house. After a while, I was like, oh, man.
Well, it's funny when I told you that, you know, it was one of my favorite stories, you said, well, it's definitely
my favorite story in all the world. Yes.
And it was nice to hear that you and Jerry still stay in touch.
Oh, we
right?
do. Yeah. He's a great guy. I love him.
Well, and he told me that when he was doing this, he said, you know, I'm not just helping June. He said, I imagine I'm gaining a lifelong friend.
Yeah. I told him one day I'm gonna come to Texas, but he said, well, it's 100 and something, 14 or something. I said, no,
not this week.
No, no.
When and you occasionally run into people who recognize you from the store.
Yes, I've been in a grocery store, any grocery store, or anywhere, and they say, I know you. And I say, probably from Channel 4 and Devin. I said, how you doing? I said, I'm doing fine. And I just start smiling. They said, yeah. I said, I had a good time.
Oh, that's so great.
Yes.
When this happened, you were, of course, just a couple of months from complete despair over what had happened to you.
Yeah.
Do you think much about the miracle of it all?
All the time, because it had to have been God that touched Jerry's heart and made him decide to come here and do what he did. And what he did encouraged other millionaires and billionaires to pay off people's homes or mortgages, according to the Housing Coalition. Yeah. And they're still fighting the good fight. Right?
That's what, you know, Jerry originally didn't want to be, didn't want his name out there. It was going to be just sort of anonymous. But I thought I convinced him that maybe he would inspire others to do what he did. And it did.
It did. You could see God all the way through this because of the way everything worked out. Like, man, I've never seen everything just come into place like that. And then I had a lot of peace about the whole situation. So that's why I couldn't stop laughing and smiling. But it's great because the neighbors are still cool.
Yeah.
Mind their business. And the street,
in fact, to talk about what's happened in the whole neighborhood since that time.
I think they started a block club.
Yep.
And 7 miles, still 7 miles. It's always.
Yeah.
And then in the neighborhood, but they're talking about redoing Gratiot where it'll be down to 1 or 2 lanes. Mm. And I'm trying to figure that out. That might not work because most people do 50, 60 on Gratiot.
It's a freeway kind of, isn't it? Yeah, I agree with you there.
It is, and so.
The other thing was that, you know, you and I talked about a lot of the problems that you had kind of had earlier in your life. I mean, you've been homeless, you know, addiction problems and all that. Your outlook on life right now today is what?
It's great because, I mean, I couldn't go any lower. So I'm going up and everything seems to just be working for me. So
I'll never forget you telling me, you know, finding out that doing it all the right way is a lot easier.
Right. Well, all this while I'm out there ass backwards. But it's a lot easier.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier, and just being with my grandkids too, that's a blessing.
And speaking of your kids, I didn't think about this at the time, but I've thought about it since, about what the example of what Jerry did was to them, right? And the way that you have to learn in your life. In fact, here you are delivering turkeys and Thanksgiving dinners to people. There's a whole range of paying it forward here going on.
Oh, exactly, yeah. Because they do the same thing. And I think I got it from my mom and grandmother because they had property in Port Huron, and they just grew acres and acres of different vegetables, and they would just give it away. And I seen so much of that, and I said, okay, that's it. But I give away everything. I've given away my coat and hats. I'm like, wow. But if I see somebody needing more, then because I know God will give it back to me.
That's so funny because, you know, Jerry couldn't know that he was giving to a giver.
Right. You know, that's, yeah. I didn't know I was receiving from a giver, but
Yeah,
he's a
yeah,
giver. He is.
yeah.
Yes, he is.
Yeah. Well, wow.
That's my
We got all kinds of traffic going on here.
youngest daughter,
Oh, okay. Yep.
and I don't know who that is. But I'm telling her to get out. She talking about, they don't know I live here. Come here.
Well, my last
Praise
question then, if I come back here, we meet next year.
Okay.
What's life look like then, do you reckon? Tell me about your hopes for moving forward.
Oh, yeah. I'll probably be a billionaire. I told you one day.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
I
you looked
remember.
at me
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
you
yeah.
have no sense.
No, I'm not doubting anything here.
Well, I said, I'm going to be a millionaire next. This is so great.